I told you they were biased. Somebody back there pulled the plug. We have got to win this election. Because the stakes are the very identity of our nation and our people. What does it mean to be an American in the 21st century? What kind of America will we have in the 21st century? That is what we are about to decide. And I want you to believe, as tough as things may be, we have a chance to make this country better than it has ever been in its history. But first we have to win, and if you nominate me, we will win this election. We will win this election because I will unify the Republican Party. Look, we don't have to agree on everything. If we're together, we want to grow, we don't want to shrink. Now, I'm very proud of the principles I stand for. But I know that this is a diverse party with different ideas. By the way, I pointed that out at the debate the other night. The Republican Party is the party that at one time had a leading contender for president who was a woman, a leading contender for president who was an African American, and two leading contenders for president that are of Hispanic descent. We are the party of diversity. And the Democrats have Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. We are going to grow this party. We are going to unify it, and we are going to grow it, and we will win it, and there's so much work to do. I'm asking you for your vote today because I want you to know what you're getting when I'm president of the United States. Number one, for the first time in 8 years, when I'm president, America will have a president that actually follows the Constitution of the United States. We will have a president that defends the First Amendment right of every American to live out the teachings of their faith. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you heard this, Donald Trump wants to change the First Amendment. He wants to make it easier to sue people and say mean things about him. All right. Now, for the first time in 8 years, when I'm president, we will have a president that defends your Second Amendment right to protect yourself and your family. When I'm president of the United States, you will have a president for the first time in a long time that understands that the solutions to many of our nation's problems are not found in Washington, D.C. They're found in our homes and in our communities and at the state level of government, not the federal level. When I take the oath of office, I'm actually going to mean it. And that's why as soon as I take the oath of office, I'm going straight to the Oval Office. And I will immediately repeal every single one of Barack Obama's unconstitutional executive orders. A president that believes in a limited federal government. A federal government that doesn't belong in many of the things it's now involved in. For example, we don't need a federal government involved in our schools. We don't need a federal Department of Education. And we don't need a federal government that makes it harder for parents to homeschool their children. You have a president that believes in a limited federal government. You have a president for the first time in 8 years that believes in free enterprise instead of big government takeover of our economy. Free enterprise works. I can say that to you as the son of a bartender and a maid, of two working people who had a job because free enterprise works. Because someone who had access to money was willing to risk that money to open up a hotel. And that's why they had jobs. Because free enterprise works. And after people were done paying their taxes and their bills, they had enough money left over to take a vacation in Las Vegas or in Miami Beach so that my parents could keep their jobs. Free enterprise works. It is the only economic model in the history of the world where you can make poor people richer and you don't have to make rich people poorer. We are going to reinvigorate free enterprise, and I encourage you to go on our website, marcorubio.com, and you will see what we're going to do. We have a tax plan that reforms our tax code and makes us globally competitive. We have a plan to roll back federal regulations. We have a plan to save Social Security and Medicare and balance our budget. We have a plan to fully utilize all of the energy resources America has been blessed with, and we have a plan that is a lot more than just getting rid of the lines around the states. We have a plan that will repeal and replace Obamacare once and for all. You will have a president for the first time in 8 years who believes and follows the Constitution. You will have a president that believes and invigorates free enterprise, and you will have a president that will, for the first time in 8 years, be a real commander-in-chief of the United States of America. That is the most important job of a president. And this president that we have now is a terrible commander-in-chief.
Yes.
Look at how dangerous the world has gotten. There was a lunatic in North Korea with nuclear weapons. The Chinese government is hacking our computers, stealing our secrets, massively building up their military, and oh, by the way, they're also making Donald Trump ties. Vladimir Putin is sowing instability in Europe and in the Middle East. Iran's going to get $100 billion of sanctions relief, which they are going to use to buy or build their own nuclear weapons. And radical Islamic jihadists are spreading all over the world. ISIS now has affiliates in over a dozen countries. Looks like a lot of fun back there. He'll get his cardboard picture after. So the world is growing more dangerous, and apparently so is this rally. The world is growing more dangerous. Don't worry, guys.
What kind of sign
I'm
did he
going to be
have?
a president for all Americans, even people that do that. I'm going to cut their taxes too.
Where was he going?
I don't know what his sign
The world is growing more dangerous, and Barack Obama is gutting our military. Our army will soon be smaller than it has been since the end of World War II. The Navy will soon be smaller than it has been in 100 years. And the Air Force will soon be the smallest it has ever been in our history. How can it be that the world grows more dangerous and our military grows smaller? This cannot continue. Not only is it unsafe, It is unfair to our men and women in uniform.
Yes.
We are still sending them into harm's way. We are still sending them into harm's way. But now with older equipment, with less training, with less people alongside them, and often with rules of engagement that do not allow them to win. When I am the President of the United States, we are going to undertake a Reagan-style rebuilding of the U.S. military. When I am President of the United States, we are going to have a real war on terror, not this fake one. A real war on terror that says our intelligence agencies are going to find the terrorists, our rebuilt military is going to destroy them. If we capture any of these terrorists alive, they're not coming to New York City for a trial. They're not coming to Virginia to go to jail. They're not going to be able to have the right to remain silent. They are going to. We are going to have a foreign policy of moral clarity when I'm the President of the United States. Which means we will stand for human rights. We will stand for liberty. We will stand for justice, and we will stand with our allies. I am not confused about who our allies are. For example, in the Middle East, there is only one pro-American, free enterprise democracy, the State of Israel. Maybe Donald Trump intends to stay neutral when it comes to Israel, but I do not. When I'm president, we will stand with Israel. On my first day in office, I will take support upon the field of Iran. And we're going to take care of our veterans again when I'm president. Yeah! If you are a veteran, will you raise your hand so we can thank you for your service? God bless you. My brother's a veteran. In 1968, he volunteered to join the Army. He became a Green Beret in the 7th Special Forces. One day, in a training mission, he jumped out of the plane, he landed wrong, he knocked out his front teeth. And so every few years, he has to go back and get a VA claim filled. And it's always a hassle. They act like they're doing him a favor.
68 for his father.
Exactly. They act like they're doing him a favor. Like they own the system and they're doing them a favor. Our veterans aren't, we're not doing them a favor. They did us a favor. They took care of us. We don't take care of them. There are really good people working at the VA. Really good people. There are good people. And if you've been to a VA, you know that there are good people there. And then there are people that are not doing the job. The other day in USA Today, the headline said that calls to the VA suicide hotline went to voicemail. And no one's held accountable. When I'm president of the United States, there will be accountability. If you're not doing a good job at the VA when I'm president, you will lose your job at the VA when I'm president. And when I'm president of the United States, the VA benefits are not going to belong to the government. They are going to belong to our veterans. You will be able to take your VA benefit to any hospital or any doctor that you want to go to. our country when they come home. If you go to any fire station in America, you are going to see veterans. If you go to any police department or sheriff's office in America, you are going to meet veterans. I am so tired of reading all these articles about how bad the police are. Let me tell you something. I thank God for our police officers. That's a joke as well for the media here. Rubio lost the rest of the audio tech guy. As you can see, there's a lot of work to do. There's no way to go through all of it. There's so much to do. Because the last 8 years have done so much damage to America. What this president has done is incredible damage. He has undertaken an effort to make America more like the rest of the world. We don't want to be like the rest of the world. We want to be a special and unique country. This election is not just a choice between names on a ballot. This election is a referendum. It is a referendum on our identity as a nation. It is a referendum on our identity as a people. And there are only two ways forward for America. America will either be greater than it's ever been, or we are going to become the first Americans that leave their children worse off than themselves. That is the choice before us. And if we make the wrong choice by electing Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, or as Republicans nominating someone who can't beat Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, we're in a lot of trouble. This is incredibly personal to me, as it is to all of you. For me, America is not just a country I was born in. For me, this is the country that changed the history of my family. My parents were both born into poor families. My mother was one of 7 girls raised in rural Cuba. Her father was disabled by polio as a young child, and so he always struggled to provide for his family. You can imagine how hard it was for a disabled man in a developing country to provide for his 7 girls. My mother says she never went to bed hungry, not once, but she knows that her parents did, so that they didn't have to. My father went to bed hungry at night. My father knew hunger. When he was 4 days shy of his 9th birthday, my father lost his mother. She died. And so if he wanted to eat, he had to quit school and go to work. And he would work for the next 70 years of his life. They came here in 1956 in search of a better life. They had barely spoken any English. The first words my father learned in English were, "I'm looking for a job." They had no money. They had no connections. They barely had an education. My parents never became rich or famous people, but my parents became successful people. When they first got here, they struggled. They were discouraged, but they persevered. Less than 10 years after my parents got here, my dad was working as a bartender at that point at a hotel. My parents bought a home. They were able to buy a home in a safe and stable neighborhood. They were able to retire with dignity after years of hard work. But you know what really made my parents successful? That they were able to live to see all 4 of their children live a life better than their own. The reason why I share this story with you is that even though it's my story, it's actually our story. It is the story of America. See, there are a lot of people here today, in the thousands, I imagine. And there are only a handful of you that I know personally. Few of you that I know your own individual story in detail. And yet, because I know that you're Americans, I know this. Everyone here is but a generation or 2 removed from someone who made your future the purpose of their lives. Every one of us is... Maybe it's the story of your father, who worked 2 jobs so you could have all the chances he never did. The story of your mother, who made incredible sacrifices so you could be what she once wanted to be. Or maybe it's you. Maybe you're the one that's now working 2 jobs. Maybe you're the one that works all day and goes to school at night to get a better job. Maybe you're the one that's made it the purpose of your life to ensure that your kids have all the opportunities you once wanted for yourself. We are all 1 or 2 generations removed from someone who made our future the purpose of their lives. It is what identifies us as a nation and as a people. You see, every country in the world has rich people. We celebrate success. We don't look down on it. But having rich people doesn't make us different. Every country has that. What makes us special are the millions of people that will never be rich, but will always work hard to achieve happiness. When you go into the ministry or join the armed forces, when you become a firefighter or a police officer, when you become a nurse or a teacher, you know, good, we're here. When you get these jobs, you know they're not going to turn you into a billionaire. What we want is to do something that we love, and to make enough money to own a home in a good neighborhood, to retire with dignity, and to give your kids the chance at the life even better than your own, at a chance at a life where they can achieve all the dreams of all life. What my parents achieved, what your parents achieved, what you were working to achieve now, it has a name. It's called the American dream. It defines this nation. It defines us as a people. And we will lose it. We are losing the American dream, and we will lose it if we abandon free enterprise. We will lose it if we abandon limited government. We will lose it if we walk away from the Constitution. We will lose it. Because the American dream has never been automatic. What makes America special has never happened on its own. We are a unique and special nation because for over 2 centuries, each generation of Americans did what needed to be done. We are a nation where for over 200 years, each generation did what they needed to do to leave the next better off. Now the time has come for this generation to do its part. And when I'm President of the United States, this generation will do its part. When I'm the President of the United States of America, this generation will embrace free enterprise, will embrace limited government, will embrace not strong national security, will embrace the traditional values that made us special in the first place. And we will apply those principles to the unique challenges of our time. And I want you to know what's going to happen next. Because I know the times are difficult. I know the news always seems to be bad. I know that every day when you go to the mailbox, you're worried that there's another bill there you didn't see coming. I know that you're worried every week that the job you have now may go away. I know that you wonder every 2 weeks, will what I get paid be enough to pay what I owe? Times are difficult. I know you borrowed thousands of dollars to go to school, often for a degree that didn't lead to a job. I know that times are tough. But I want you to believe that we are a few important choices away from the greatest era in our history. But we have to do it now in 2016. And here's what history will say of us when we do our part. It will say that this generation of Americans, we lived in the early years of this new century in a very difficult time, a rapidly changing world. And it will say the truth. After 8 years of Barack Obama, we almost got it wrong. But then in 2016, we remembered who we were. In 2016, we remembered what made our nation great to begin with. And we embraced all of those principles once again. And we confronted our challenges. And we embraced our opportunities. And we solved our problems. And because we did, our children became the freest and most prosperous Americans ever lived. The American dream didn't just survive, it reached more people and changed more lives than ever before. Because we did what needed to be done. There was still one place on earth where anyone from anywhere could achieve anything. Because we did what needed to be done. The 21st century was better than the 20th century. The 21st century was a new American century. This is what we have a chance to do together, and it starts this year in this election, and that's why I need your vote. Tuesday, and I need you to go out and get your friends to vote for me on Tuesday, because remember, friends, do not let friends vote for con artists. And then I'm coming back in the fall, because we're going to win Virginia in the general election as well. Election, and we will turn this country around, and we will leave for our children what our parents left for us, the single greatest nation in the history of all mankind. Thank you.